The week Sarah transferred to Professor Morris's evening section felt like the longest of her life. It was the right decision, the smart decision, but it didn't make it any easier. Sitting in Catherine's class instead of Adrian's felt wrong, like a piece of her was missing. But it also meant freedom. The first Friday after the transfer, Adrian picked her up outside her apartment building. Actually picked her up, in his car, like a real date. "Where are we going?" Sarah asked, sliding into the passenger seat. "Dinner. A restaurant. Like normal people." His smile was slightly nervous. "Is that okay?" "It's perfect." He drove them to a quiet Italian place 30 minutes outside the city, far enough that they were unlikely to run into anyone from Ashford, intimate enough to feel special. Over pasta and wine, they talked about everything and nothing. Books they loved, places they wanted to travel, childhood memories. All the conversations they'd never had time for when they were stealing moments between classes and hiding in his apartment. "I didn't know you wanted to be a writer," Adrian said, watching her with soft eyes. "I didn't know you played piano," Sarah countered. "You're full of surprises, Professor Blackwood." "Not your professor anymore," he reminded her, reaching across the table to take her hand. "Just Adrian. Your very devoted, slightly obsessed boyfriend." The word hung between them. Boyfriend. It was so normal, so mundane. And yet it meant everything. "Boyfriend," Sarah repeated, testing the word. "I like that." "Good. Because I'm not letting you go." After dinner, they walked along the waterfront, his arm around her shoulders, her head resting against him. For the first time since this began, Sarah felt like they might actually have a chance. "I have something for you," Adrian said as they approached a jewelry store with a small window display. "Adrian, you don't have to." "I want to." He pulled out a small velvet box. Sarah's heart stopped. "That's not a ring," he said quickly, laughing. "Open it." Inside was a delicate silver necklace with a small key pendant. "A key to my apartment," he explained. "And a promise that you'll always have a place with me. Whenever you want it. Wherever life takes us." Tears filled her eyes. "It's beautiful." He fastened it around her neck, his fingers lingering on her skin. "So are you." They kissed there on the waterfront, with the stars overhead and the water lapping at the shore, and for one perfect moment, everything felt possible. But reality has a way of intruding on perfect moments. Monday morning, Sarah arrived at Adrian's office for what had become their routine coffee meeting. Now that she wasn't his student, they could justify occasional academic discussions without raising suspicion. She found him staring at his computer screen, his expression grim. "What's wrong?" He turned the screen toward her. It was an email from the dean's office. Subject: formal complaint, investigation required. "Jeremy filed a formal complaint," Adrian said quietly. "Alleging that I showed favoritism to you when you were my student. That I gave you grades you didn't earn in exchange for inappropriate favors." Sarah felt the blood drain from her face. "But that's not true. I earned every grade. I know that. You know that. But now there's going to be an investigation." He ran a hand through his hair. "They're going to review all your work, interview other students, look at my grading patterns. Will they find anything? Your work is exemplary. Better than most graduate students I've taught. The grades are justified." He looked at her, his eyes troubled. "But they might find other things. The way I looked at you in class. The number of times I asked you to stay after. If they interview the right people." "Catherine," Sarah whispered. "Catherine won't lie for us. She'll tell the truth if asked directly." Adrian stood, pacing his office. "Sarah, I need you to understand something. If they prove we were involved while you were my student, I will lose my job. Probably my career. And you'll face consequences too." "Then we tell them the truth," Sarah said. "That yes, we were attracted to each other. Yes, the relationship started when I was your student. But my grades were always earned. The work speaks for itself. That's professional suicide for me. Then I'll take the blame. I'll say I pursued you, that I wouldn't take no for an answer. Absolutely not." His voice was sharp. "I'm the one in the position of power. I'm the adult. I'm the professor. This is my responsibility, not yours. Adrian. No, Sarah. I won't let you destroy your future to protect me. He cupped her face, his expression fierce. Whatever happens, we tell the truth. All of it. And we deal with the consequences together. Understood. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry. This is all my fault. It's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. We fell in love. That's not a crime. The timing was terrible, yes. We broke rules, yes. But what we have is real, and it's worth fighting for. What do we do now? Now we wait for the investigation. We cooperate fully. We provide evidence that your grades were justified. He kissed her forehead. And we hope that the truth is enough. The next few weeks were a nightmare. Sarah was interviewed by the ethics committee. So was Adrian. Other students from the class were questioned. Her essays and exams were reviewed by independent faculty members. The campus gossip mill went into overdrive. Everyone seemed to know that Professor Blackwood was under investigation for an inappropriate relationship with a student. Sarah felt the stares in the hallways, heard the whispers when she walked past. Some were sympathetic. Most weren't. Home wrecker, someone spray painted on her dorm room door. Professor's pet, others whispered. Maya stood by her through it all, fiercely defensive even when Sarah finally told her the truth. You're an idiot, Maya said, but she was crying. But I get it. When you love someone, I do love him, Sarah whispered. So much. Then fight for him. Don't let them make you ashamed of something real. Adrian was placed on administrative leave pending the investigation. He wasn't allowed on campus, couldn't teach, couldn't even access his office without supervision. They still saw each other, more openly now, since there was no point in hiding anymore. If anything, the scrutiny made them hold on tighter to each other. I might lose everything, Adrian said one night, holding her in his apartment. My job, my reputation, everything I've worked for. But you'd still have me. Is that enough? It has to be. She kissed him softly. Because you're all I need. He held her tighter, and they stayed like that through the night, two people against the world, hoping that love would be enough to survive what was coming. 3 weeks after the investigation began, Dean Morrison called them both into her office. Sarah sat beside Adrian, their hands clasped tightly together, as the dean reviewed a thick folder of documents. I've reviewed all the evidence, Dean Morrison said finally. Miss Winter's academic work is exemplary. Every grade was justified and, if anything, Professor Blackwood graded you more harshly than other students to avoid any appearance of favoritism. Sarah felt a flicker of hope. However, the dean continued, multiple witnesses have confirmed that there was noticeable tension between you during the semester. That Professor Blackwood's behavior toward you was complicated. And you both have admitted that the relationship began while Miss Winters was your student. Yes, Adrian said firmly. I don't deny that. What happened between us was real, and it started when it shouldn't have. But I never let it affect her grades. I never used my position to pressure her. Everything between us was consensual. I believe you, Dean Morrison said, surprising them both. Which is why I'm not recommending termination. Adrian's grip on Sarah's hand tightened. You're not. No. But there will be consequences. She leaned back in her chair. Professor Blackwood, you'll be suspended without pay for the remainder of the semester. You'll be required to complete ethics training. And you'll be on probation for 2 years. Any other violation, no matter how minor, and you're finished. I understand. Miss Winters, you're cleared of any academic misconduct. Your grades stand. However, I'm recommending you consider transferring to another university for your remaining years. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the reputation this has created will follow you here. Sarah's stomach dropped, but she nodded. I understand. You're both very lucky, the dean said quietly. This could have been much worse. Learn from this. And for God's sake, be more careful in the future. They left the office in stunned silence. Outside the building, Adrian pulled Sarah into his arms, holding her like he'd never let go. I'm so sorry, he whispered into her hair. I'm so sorry you have to leave Ashford because of me. I'm not sorry. She pulled back to look at him. I'd do it all again. Every risk, every rule we broke. Because I love you. I love you too. More than anything. He kissed her, soft and deep and full of promise. And when you graduate, when all of this is behind us, I'm going to marry you, Serafina Winters. If you'll have me. She laughed through her tears. That's quite a promise, Professor Blackwood. It's the only promise that matters. They stood there, holding each other as students walked past and whispered, as the world judged them, as their carefully constructed lives crumbled around them. But they had each other. And somehow, that was enough.